rule the world.
Well, hello and welcome back to Hold and Modify, YouTube's most poorly produced, underproduced Amiga channel. And yes, it's Q and his Amiga 2500 yet again. And today we're going to try and solve that noisy, annoying problem with that fan on the Progressive Peripherals and Software 68040. So we need to pop that sucker out of there. So the first thing I'm going to do here is just get this card out of my 2500. It's a really exciting process. So as you can see, it's just a rat's nest of cables, but I did get it out. And got to pop it out here. I got to kind of negotiate the 12 volt and 5 volt cables there. So there she is. That's the stock fan. It's pretty horrible and loud, and obviously the bearings are shot. You can see here it's got this funky wiring. This is stock. This came from the factory this way. They grafted onto the edge connector there. Got to kind of get rid of that. Not going to be dealing with that, not on my end. What I want to do is, I think I'm just going to snip that. All right, so here is the new fan. This is the Noctua, and it's the nice little 40 by 40 by 10. Should fit in there nicely. Go ahead and get her out here. It's not the... I mean, this packaging is just overkill for how small this fan is, but I know Noctua, they try to give you everything you need. They just don't think you're going to be putting it into a, 35-year-old, 40-year-old computer. But it does come with some adapters. None of them I am going to use. I did have to go onto eBay and actually order the 3-pin to Molex adapter that I wanted. And unfortunately, it did not come in the box with the Noctua fan, but here you go. There's a 3-pin. It is 5 volt only. It's not 12 volt. Don't think you're going to run 12 volt to that or it's going to go pop. And then here's my little 12 volt. I just said it right there. Yellow is 5 volt in modern times. Molex 2 3-pin adapter so I don't blow it up. All right, so let's get the old fan out. It's just 4 simple screws here. 4 simple little screws. I'm sure they will be no problem to remove. And yes, it feels so nice to remove these old screws. There's little plastic retainers in the bottom, just making sure those little plastic retaining nuts have not cracked. It is old plastic, and sometimes just manipulating the screws could see them explode into tiny little pieces, making my life miserable. But yes, it comes right off, and oh my gosh, the gross. Yes, this is a lot of gross. Oh no, oh my gosh. That's what the underneath of my bed looked like. Until I got a Roomba and it started vacuuming under my bed. So we're going to need to clean this up. So I've got my 99% IPA, spray it all over the place and wipe things up. Yay! And of course we've got our trusty cleaning duster. And now we begin the gentle wiping process. A circular motion is preferred. Clean the area evenly and thoroughly, making sure to moisten. Remoisten. Oh yes, that's nice. And now we salvage the screws from the old fan. We will need them. We will need these old fans. These old fan screws. I should learn how to talk. I should probably write scripts for my videos. I never will. So there we go. I'm salvaging or harvesting the old screws out of the fan so that I can mount the new one. And of course, we'll just leave the bracket. As you can see in the background there, the beautiful 68040 Motorola chip is nice and clean. The IPA is evaporated and or is evaporating, and we'll go ahead and get this put on here. You're probably wondering about the fan that's sitting there off to the side. Yeah, we are going to have to snip it. We cannot leave it there. So let's get ahead and start unraveling this. I guess electrical tape is what they used. Yeah, that looks like electrical tape. Well, I'm guessing it's soldered together, hopefully. Not just electrical taped. And yes, it is soldered together. There you go. They tinned it up nicely and then wrapped it in some classy electrical tape. I'm just gonna have to go ahead and snip this. I'll snip it nice and close to the connection so that in case I ever have to go back to that wire, you might ask, well, why don't you just desolder those wires from the edge connector? Well, me and the soldering process does not go well. I'm not really good at that. And I don't know, maybe I'll need it in the future. So it's there. So I'm going to just go ahead and leave it. give it a little snip. No more children for you. I mean, no more fan powering for you. The snip is now complete. It's done. And, you know, there it is. Look how beautiful that is. It's done, folks. I did it. I'm no pro. You know that. That's the old busted fan. Man, 35 years old maybe, that fan. So let's get the new one on here. Now that she's nice and dry. Look at that 040. Nice and dry. Ooh. Oh, yes. Look at those wires. So tempting. Just short them out onto the board there. Oh, yes. Oh, cute. So, which way does the fan go? Well, see how these pedals are angled down to the right? It spins that direction. See? That direction. And it blows air that way. Yes, that's how this works. That's how you can tell what way a fan is going to blow. And that's how the airflow goes. And we needed the air to, you know, suck air off the hot chip. So we have to kind of install the fan upside down, so to speak. Well, I've noticed something terrible. The Noctua has cutouts for the screws, but only on one side. So I can put these in here and they come out and they don't work. They're not long enough. The screws aren't long enough because of how the Noctua is set up. So So my first thought here is installing it this way, the fan is going to pull in cool air from the case and it'll blow all the hot chip air outwards and it'll be so nice, yes. No problems with that, right? I mean, I know how fan dynamics work. It's just going to blow all the hot air out and it won't have any problems. There will be no issues with fan stall or blade stall or excessive noise as I plug in my 3-pin adapter. I'm sure this will be great. This is a great idea, Q. Install the fan upside down. The wrong way. Well, no, that doesn't work now, does it? This causes a ton of blade turbulence, and it's just as loud as the broken fan. Good job, Q. You're doing so well with this project. Everyone enjoys watching this. Well, how am I going to resolve this little conundrum? I can't use the screws, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the next best thing to screws. We're going to use our old trusty, always available, and super handy, and thermally compliant and safe 3M red tape. All right, so there it is. I'm not kidding. This stuff, it's moisture resistant, it's temperature resistant. It does amazing things. I've used it outside here in the deep south with our grotesque humidity and temperatures, and it bonds and sticks with no issues. So I'm just going to go ahead and mount this fan in the correct position so it's sucking air off the chip instead of trying to blow it onto it, which is, as you just heard, is not what you're going to ever want to do. This is why you watch my channel, right? To see what you're not supposed to do. I've said this in many videos. And it just keeps happening. So yes, we're going to use this 3M red. This stuff will last forever. And the thing is, with this 2500 install, the fan is so close to the floppy cage that even if for some reason the tape started to break its bond, which it really won't, 3M red is amazing, the fan's not going anywhere. The floppy cage keeps it pressed against the CPU. So it is solid. It is good. It is golden. I have complete faith in this 3M red. So should you. Yes. Well, there she is, all bundled up. Now it's time to go ahead and slip that all-important Amiga 2500 case lid on. It's just my favorite case lid to slide on, especially when the back panel plane is, well, it's actually bent. So it's a little, I don't know, it's grief. But here we go. Finally, for the last time, I am sure, ever. Remember, I've got that amazing 3D printed bracket for my hard drive, my SCSI hard drive using the Zulu. It's the 3D printed bracket that gives me access to the hard drive out back, so I don't have to take the case off to get to the hard drive. Thank you, Chris Edwards, again for that. I just got to get the case on, so let's do that. And now we're rendering. Computer booted? Of course it would boot. Did you ever have a doubt? I don't need to show you it booting. Of course it's going to boot. Everything I do is perfect. So here we go. We're now rendering. The last time I showed you rendering on this 2500 with this Progressive Peripherals and Software's 040, it locked up and crashed because it overheated because the fan was terrible. So right now we are rendering in Scenery Animator. It's going full tilt. And in the background I've got some mod music playing with Eagle Player. Here we go. Come on, Eagle Player. Why did you stop on me? Oh, okay, here. We'll just get Eagle Player going again. Sometimes Eagle Player, I swear, has a mind of its own. But rendering in the background, playing some music, multitasking Amiga style. Look at this. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Just going to configure Eagle Player here so it doesn't do this again. Just keep playing, please. Yeah, where's it? Yeah, their random song. Okay, so we'll get that set and save. Now, it is rendering. Keep that in mind. It's rendering and playing music, so even with the SCSI, it's a little slow on save here. It just takes a little bit. But the point is, guess what has not happened? The fan is running. It doesn't sound like a leaf blower anymore. Yeah, great. And it's not crashing or locking up. So that's pretty awesome. Is the 2500 quiet? Is it silent? No, of course not. It's not like the 4000 or the 3000 I've got. It still has that a stock cooling fan in the 2500 power supply. I've not replaced that with a Noctua. In my Amiga 3000, I replaced that fan with a Noctua fan. And this 2500, it's still the stock fan, but it's really good. It's not that loud. It's really not that loud. And this new Noctua, now that it's facing the correct way, is very pleasing. It's not obnoxious. And look at this. We're rocking out here without a crash. It's just completely stable. Oh my gosh, finally, here we go. The 2500 is joining the Hold and Modify loft with all the other brothers and sisters Amigas in operating condition 100%. This is so cool. You know what, I'm just going to go ahead while the chip is nice and toasty now and warmed up from rendering. Let's give it something else to render, because I really want to make sure it's solid and not, you know, this isn't, it's, you know, how many times do you make a video and you do something for like 30 seconds or a minute and it works and everyone's like, oh yeah, that's great, it worked wonderful. And then you stop recording and then you keep it going and then it just crashes and you're like, crap. So I want to just go ahead and get another render going. This Mount St. Helens is pretty beefy and, yeah, I mean, it still hasn't locked up. It's not obnoxious sounding. Now, some of you might be like, why are you playing mod music in the background? Why don't you let us hear the system? Well, look, it's not silent. I mean, it still makes a little bit of fan noise, but it's not leaf blower, buzzy, loud. And besides, isn't this more fun watching a render with some Amiga mods jamming in the background? Totally, man. Totally. Yes, let's watch it. I should shut up now. And here we go. The last of the rendering from good old Scenery Animator. We have got a wonderful Amiga 2500 with an RGB to HDMI, a 68040 running at 28 megahertz, 32 megs of RAM, and it's just operating and running beautifully now, and it's not obnoxiously loud, unlike me most of the time, especially on the weekend while watching football and drinking beer. There we go. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. All right. I gotta go do something else now.